Sonlin and Herwig Konings are founding partners of Security Token Group. All opinions expressed by them or guests on this podcast are solely their opinions and do not represent the views of Security Token Group or its subsidiaries. You should not take any opinion expressed on the show as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow any investment strategy. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's episode of the Security Token Show. I'm your host Kyle Sonlin, joined by my co-host and business partner Herwig Konings. We're here in sunny Miami, Florida. We're talking security tokens. We have an amazing episode for you today. This is the last one of the year, so we're going to be diving into our predictions going on in the industry and everything reviewing the year. But before we do that, I want to thank our sponsor, which is this week is INX. INX is a marketplace to trade security tokens, which means they are registered as an ATS license here in the US, but they also allow for trading and transactions from anyone around the world. They do primary deals as well as that secondary trading market of security tokens and cryptocurrencies and other things. So definitely check out INX. Not only do they have the ability to do this in a regulated fashion, but they just relaunched their platform called INX One, where they've redesigned their front end and redesigned the whole platform and user experience. So check it out at one.inx.co for more information. Thanks to INX for this week's sponsor.
Beautiful platform. And of course, thank you to all our sponsors this year that made this show possible. We've got the top 5 latest news, the latest industry happenings, the latest token offerings, and what's happening in the secondary market for you lined up. And as Kyle mentioned, one of my favorites, we all made some predictions here on the show at the beginning of the year. We're going to find out just how close or far off we actually were. So with that, let's get into the Security Token Show.
And diving into our top 5 this week, number 1, ETF provider VanEck just released their predictions for tokenization for 2023, and Herwig, their roadmap sees over $25 billion in tokenized assets in 2023. Again, specifically citing everything we say here on the show, settlement and clearing efficiencies and cost savings are specifically the reason why they think institutions are going to be diving down this rabbit hole. We couldn't agree more, and in fact, based on our $15-20 billion market cap, we're pretty much already there, so we tend to agree with them, if not see it going even higher.
Yeah, just from financial institutions alone, just last month we've seen KKR, Hamilton Lane, Apollo, and many more say they're getting in the game and doing awesome stuff, including most recently, we are now seeing MakerDAO and Block Tower have teamed up to fund a fund on Centrifuge, folks. Centrifuge is a platform to bring real-world assets into the DeFi world in a regulated fashion, and now they've brought $220 million to the platform. $150 million of it coming from MakerDAO, the other $70 from Block Tower Credit, and it's the largest on-chain investment, they say, to date in the history of security tokens, which is, of course, huge news. And MakerDAO, fun fact, Kyle, they say that 75% of their revenues that they're paying out comes from real-world assets right now. Pretty great stuff. Can't wait to see that in action next year.
And moving into number 3, we have Unicoin, the official asset backing the Unicorn Hunters show, where they're trying to find the next unicorn tech companies. They have launched a pre-sale for their Unicoin holdings, which is essentially a basket of regulated assets. This is a real-world security token sold to accredited investors, and they just hit a $250 million milestone, noting $50 million in just the last 2 months alone. This is accredited, US only, and as I said, it's a portfolio of assets backed by equities and high growth startups. Shout out to Unicoin.
That's major news. And for number 4, also, WisdomTree announcing that they have 9 funds registered with the SEC that are all blockchain enabled. Folks, they are clearly embracing the future of tokenization, highlighting what VanEck is saying, which is they believe that this is the technology of the future, and they're putting their money where their mouth is with 9 funds, folks. I don't think there's any other financial institution on Wall Street that has that many blockchain based funds Gotta love it.
And number 5, finally to wrap us off here, the SEC has announced it has filed charges against Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. Just last week, he was set to testify in front of Congress, with which he was too busy, so he was going to go via Zoom. Well, the regulators were not too appreciative of that. They arrested him in the Bahamas. He's currently serving time in the Bahamas, and the SEC specifically notes a years-long fraud. They note a diversion of funds to Alameda, which was misleading to investors, as well as an unlimited line of credit and no risk management towards that private company. And then finally, the undisclosed risk from the exposure to Alameda's assets, which then also wasn't factored in to their liabilities. He is now serving time, and this is going to begin the case of potentially 2023 and seeing what ends up happening in this case.
Oh man, I think a lot of us were waiting for this to finally happen. I think there was a lot of theories that this might not even happen at all. I think justice will prevail. And with that, let's get into the rest of the industry news with Annie Yancey.
Happy Grand Rising, everyone. Being that this is our last episode of the year, I want to wish you all happy holidays. Let's dive into our news. This week, International Token Exchange, or ITE, an alternative investment platform, announced they will be using Digishares technology to tokenize a range of real assets. ITE provides exposure to real assets in the form of digital tokens. The platform gives asset owners the option to unlock trapped capital and allows investors to participate in markets previously out of reach from the average person. These assets range from rare whiskey to fine art, luxury watches, and asset-backed loans. This partnership will allow investors to buy or sell their holdings with a push of a button, while also offering them increased liquidity, transparency, and security. We reached out to CEO of ITE, Anthony Bodenstein, for comment, and he said in the years following the 2008 financial crisis, low interest rates encourage investors to preserve value by holding real assets. And now, in the inflationary environment that has characterized 2022, we're seeing further appreciation of those assets due to their increased scarcity. He mentioned many people want to participate in these trends but face significant barriers to accessing the assets, and then securely storing them can be complex and costly. Owners of the asset want a way to release some of the capital trapped in them without having to sell the entire asset or sell into an illiquid market. At ITE, their solution solves all these problems by providing improved liquidity, safe storage, and the ability to fractionalize assets. He added that studies show that investing in real estate asset beats cash or government paper in the long run, and the evidence from the past 15 years or so strongly supports it. However, what is lacking in the market is efficiency. It is widely expected in the market that blockchain technology is the best solution to this set of problems, and ITE will be at the forefront of the innovation. Next up, we have Brazil with some big news for the upcoming year. Their central bank aims to launch its digital currency in 2024. Before the token is widely used, a pilot program will be conducted with some financial institutions. Roberto Campos Neto, the bank president, said that the project has received international attention and that their design would encourage banks to tokenize their assets. Representatives of the International Monetary Fund have given feedback saying the model is the easiest to implement. The central bank also predicts an increase in the bank's instant payment system since users would access cheaper credit through the system without a fee known as the merchant discount rate. In other news, a group of crypto investors have filed a lawsuit against Compound Finance. They are asking to revolve the sale of the company Comp token. They are also asking for a refund reward for investors claiming that the offering was unregistered. The investors are claiming Comp is a security because users purchase Comp to gain an ownership share in the Compound business, expecting to earn profits based on the efforts of the partner defendants. According to the lawsuit, the SEC received no registration statements regarding the offering of Comp tokens. The document also questions the company's advertisement for community governance. Compound uses what's called the yield farming or liquidity mining to incentivize users to deposit or borrow money. In return, it was used to pay fees by allocating governance tokens, but it didn't allow retail token holders to have any real influence on the company. The lawsuit also claims that in a speculative a speculator frenzy of 5 days, the value of COM increased from $93 to $335. I believe the case has some good grounds to stand on regarding being a security, and it will be interesting to see what is decided. For our last news of the days, we have Security Token Advisors releasing their latest report, the State of Security Tokens 2023 Institutional Edition. The report was written by their head of research, Peter Gaffney, and it is a playbook for asset managers, private equity firms, investment banks, and other key capital market players to leverage with regards to asset tokenization. It covers over 20 active legitimate case studies with samples including the securitization and tokenization of 100 million bond issuances. Private equity funds being offered to U.S. and international investors via KKR, Hamilton Lane, Apollo Global Management, Inc., and much more information. You can find the report on the company's LinkedIn page, Security Token Advisors, or the company's Twitter, which is Token Advisors. Okay, folks, that's all I have for today. Let's see what's new on the STO side.
Hey tokenizers, I'm Thor here with your STO updates. Starting with WisdomTree, the global financial innovator recently announced 9 new funds effective with the SEC. This is in addition to their previously announced one, bringing them up to 10 digital funds ahead of their WisdomTree Prime app coming Q1 2023. Each of the new funds will give investors exposure to a variety of assets and traditional investments, such as the WisdomTree Short Duration Income Fund and WisdomTree 500 Digital Fund. Between the 9 funds, investors will be able to supplement their portfolios with treasuries, TIPS, and tech and innovation, to name some categories. If you're interested in their app coming early next year, they have a waitlist you can join at wisdomtreeprime.com. Next, we have Nutriband, which was just approved for dual listing on Upstream, which is operated by Horizon Fintechs and our friends over at Merge Exchange in the Seychelles. This is designed to provide Nutriband the opportunity to access a global digital-first investor base that can trade using USDC, credit, debit, PayPal, and USD, unlocking liquidity and enhancing prime discovery while globalizing the opportunity to invest in the NASDAQ-listed Nutriband. For those unfamiliar with Nutriband, they are developing a portfolio of transdermal pharmaceutical products, with their flagship product being an abuse-deterrent fentanyl patch. So why a dual listing? Investors will be able to trade the security tokens beginning on January 5th, 2023, and will also get to redeem an NFT commemorating the dual listing, which can also be traded. This is a great way to keep the investment separate from the NFT, and its perks such as participation in future digital promotions and redemptions for products, services, or experiences. For more information, go to nutriband.com/investors. Go to nutriband.com/investors/upstream. That's all for this week. Now on to the market update.
Hello and happy Monday. The security token market cap opens the week up at $15.18 billion. However, as the year comes to a close with markets not as liquid, such as security tokens at this time, it's often advisable not to pay as much mind to sudden price shifts as tax loss harvesters look to save a few bucks from Uncle Sam. XY Labs is having a week to forget as it's down over 25%. However, Nutriband announced its approval to dual listed shares on Upstream, the trading app for digital securities and NFTs powered by Horizon Fintechs Trading. This trading begins on January 5th, 2023 at 10 a.m. under the ticker symbol NTRB. The dual listing on Upstream is designed to provide Nutriband the opportunity to access a global digital-first investor base that can trade using USDC, digital currency, along with credit, debit, PayPal, and USD, unlocking liquidity and enhancing price discovery while globalizing the opportunity to invest in NASDAQ-listed Nutriband. In other news, investment at Public.com, which is known as a Robinhood competitor that pivoted away from the contentious payment for order flow, also known as PFOF revenue model, is expanding its offerings in a big way. The 3-year-old company purchased Otis earlier the year to allow consumers to buy and trade fractionalized shares and alternative assets. It recently announced that it has integrated Otis's offerings into its own app, meaning its 3 million users can construct portfolios comprised of both public stocks and now alternative assets such as high-end trading cards and other collectibles. It is not unlikely that we will see security tokens and other fractionalized assets using blockchain will be trading on the public platform soon.
That will likely lead to a rip wave throughout the industry, expanding nearly all exchanges at some point to integrating. That is all for now, but have an amazing rest of your week, an amazing rest of your year, and I'll see you in 2023.
Thank you, as always, for that final episode from the rest of the team here at the Security Token Show. We're excited to bring you yet another year, but now we're going to get into, I believe, Kyle's favorite segment, as you often say, Companies of the Week. We each choose one company that we thought, deserves the biggest spotlight for what they did last week. And frankly, this is the last time any company can make it into the selection process for Company of the Year, which we, of course, announced in our first episode when we come back to you in January. With that, Kyle, who's your last choice?
My final choice for Company of the Year. This is a winner in the past. I don't know if they've won this year or if it was in one of our over 3+ years of shows filming here just about every week for so long. But I wanted to shout out Centrifuge. Centrifuge is a blockchain issuance platform. They do a lot of the technology of bringing real world assets on-chain and helping provide liquidity to those types of contracts. I'm familiar with the Tin Lake protocol, which is what they use to actually tokenize shipping contracts and a lot of types of invoicing internationally. Super cool. Now, they've just announced that in partnership with MakerDAO, as well as Block Tower, a over $200 million, 220 exactly, $1 million fund to invest into these deals, to provide liquidity, to provide investment into these offerings. We've said this for such a long time that market making, underwriting, private financing is so important in this industry, and it's obviously the biggest bottleneck to the adoption of this industry. And this is exactly something that Centrifuge and their team are doing. Obviously, major credit to Maker and all the other players involved, but I'm very familiar with what Centrifuge has been doing for years now in the DeFi space. I think it's super cool how they're blending the securities and the blockchain aspects into a one compliant protocol. So major shout out to Lucas and team at Centrifuge.
I don't think it would be possible without Centrifuge being the glue to put it all together, and for sure, I think that's a great choice. As I mentioned earlier, I believe they claim it's the largest on-chain investment in the security token space. That's major props.
Absolutely right. How about you?
Well, Kyle, I gotta give it out to Unicoin. Unicoin has come out of nowhere, folks, and announced that they've brought in $250 million through their SEC-registered security token, as they say in their press release. That's huge. That's even more than the $220 million we just saw. They claim that they've even raised $50 million in just the last 2 months, despite this huge bear market, given the fact that their portfolio is, of course, heavily focused on blockchain and crypto, but they say is diversified across many other things, including some high-profile, potentially big VC investments that they've made that could turn into the multi-billion-dollar valuation as we hope. And that's what I assume is driving the interest and demand behind this offering. I don't know much more behind other than what I read. And honestly, I think it's a huge deal. They actually say that Steve Wozniak is involved, and we have seen him here and there at conferences in the crypto space, so he doesn't often put his name associated with it. That's got to give it something, right, Kyle? And Unicorn Hunters behind it is actually a pretty cool concept of trying to find the next VC investment, but now through this and many other ways allowing us to participate in those gains. So that's awesome. So for all those reasons, they're my company of the week, especially for one more reason, which is they actually are about to give me a pretty big win we're going to talk about. So congratulations, Unicoin. That's awesome stuff.
Two amazing winners. And now on to our predictions. We started out the year giving our predictions, not only us, but the rest of the show team at that time. We're going to go through everything going on and see who was right.
Let's get into the main topic. And now it's time for our last main topic of the year. 170 episodes of this stuff. Pretty crazy. One of my favorites, though, is, of course, where we review our predictions at the beginning of the year. We finally arrived at that time, Kyle. I want to see who was right, who was maybe really wrong. And with that, Kyle, maybe you can set the scene for our viewers. Maybe they didn't catch that first episode.
Sure. So this is a tradition that we do every year, and this is now 3-4 years going. And basically, we pick our predictions. We try to review what happened over the year and guess, based on a hot take, what is going to happen in the new year. It's always a fun way to go back and see how right or wrong we may have been. And this year was actually a fun one because over this year, we actually significantly expanded the show with regards to the cast members. And so at the beginning of last year, we ran this hot take segment with all of our different show members. We had John Pittman, we had Sam Sachs, Megan Neivold, and Eve Van Call all joining us to give their predictions. And the way that we set it out was everyone had to give a hot take on what they thought was going to happen over 2022, and everyone also had to give a market cap prediction for where they saw the market going. So I think that maybe the first way to start is let's look at what our other cast members said, see and dive into kind of some of their hot takes, and then we can review ours.
Oh, I'm ready. Let's do it. So first up, we've got John. John, who's been with the team for well over a year. He actually wasn't really exposed to this industry and then jumped right in. He was still pretty fresh at the time, so his prediction, his hot take, if you will, was 1,000 security token offerings in 2022. Kyle, what do you think?
It's not that bad. I certainly love the optimism and the ambition, and I think that we're definitely on track to hit that over maybe next year or the following year, but we didn't quite hit it this year, I don't think, Herwig.
I don't think so. We don't have the data to back that one up. There's a possibility. Who knows? Maybe
offerings that haven't raised, right? They filed for it and weren't able to pull in.
We weren't able to pull in any profile notably enough to mention them. So
Off the cuff, I'd say 300 to 500, something like that.
Maybe even closer to 700.
Right.
But 1,000, I think, just shy, John. Good attempt. Maybe with the great work you're doing over at Top Floor, our sister company, teaching entrepreneurs also about tokenization, that number will for surely be hit next year.
Lead by example.
Now, he also had his market cap prediction. So what are we ending the year on for the market cap? He said triple-digit billions, 100 billion plus in market cap.
We can't talk about whether it's right or wrong. We'll leave that for suspense as we get to the end here of the main topic. But John's got it at triple-digit billions. Interesting.
Moving on, we've got Megan. Megan said, Kyle, NFTs are holding back STOs, which is a funny hot take prediction because it's kind of hard to read into that. But
Sure.
What do you think to that statement?
Yeah, I think it was something we both agreed on. I don't think at the time we actually felt that was incredibly hot from our perspective. That being said, at the time, probably was pretty hot from a takes perspective with regards to the general crypto NFT industry, which at the time had been blowing up with people like Steph Curry or Shaquille O'Neal buying pictures of apes for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We certainly didn't see quite the same viral adoption of the security token space. So potentially a hot take at the time. I think this is something that did make sense though. We saw it with our clients, is that the amount of times people said, why don't you do an NFT was off the charts. So I think that we probably, this one is correct, but maybe not quite as spicy as some of the others.
I totally agree with you. It's definitely a pass, though the hotness meter, the hot take is definitely pretty low. Her market cap prediction, though, was quite the opposite. I remember my seat literally being on fire, I think. $1.1 trillion. We'll see if she's right.
I'd love it to be right.
I think we all probably already know she might not be right.
She also did say one other thing, and in her market cap definition, she declared, and we all agree we're going to honor this, price is right rules. Price is right rules meaning you'd rather be low than high. If you overshoot the estimate, then you're out of the game, so you have to feather your estimation in and be under, but as close to the number as you can. So remember, if you are the highest vote of everyone, you better hope that it's higher than yours, because otherwise you're probably out.
Now, next up, we've got Eves, who's our metaverse expert. So going to be interesting to see exactly what his security token predictions were. Specifically, his hot take, Securitize is going to become the Coinbase of the industry. Let's just define that as the leading marketplace. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I don't think we can give this one to them. They've done a really good job this year of driving industry adoption. I think most of their progress has come on the primary side in bringing large firms like KKR or Hamilton Lane to the party, but we haven't seen those things hit secondary markets. We haven't seen a lot of additional adoption with respect to the secondary markets. I think you probably have to give that to the incumbents like T0 or someone like that as the leader in the secondary market side still to this day.
Yeah, I'd say it's tough to define that because ultimately, we have factors like leading volume, biggest market cap, most listings, and it's just tough to say that Securitize really won those, but they did have some very high-profile deals like KKR and Hamilton Lane, so they definitely are potentially in the running for that very well next year.
Absolutely right.
And his prediction, specifically, $20 billion.
$20 billion.
Back to that, a very interesting prediction.
All right.
Sam, who is our secondary market expert, our Jim Cramer on the team. His prediction is Exodus will become the leading token both by market cap and by trading volume. What's the data tell us?
The data says that this one was incorrect. It was ambitious, and we certainly saw a lot of excitement for this offering due to the fact that it was the first Reg A Plus security token offering and the first Reg A Plus to hit the $75 million benchmark. But unfortunately, since listing, it just hasn't seen the same strong momentum.
A great hot take, but maybe a little fanboying got in the way of winning that one. But his prediction, which may be, of course, the most interesting of all, was $5 billion, folks. $5 billion.
$5 billion. All right, we're kind of falling in that range.
We've seen
got
a couple variety here. Okay.
Oh, so now on to us, huh?
Do we have to do us? I think we should.
I think we should.
Kyle, your prediction. What did you have for us?
So my hot take was similar to Megan's, but I tried to quantify mine a little bit more. We obviously did it separately. We came into this with our own predictions, but mine was that the STO market cap, the security token trading market cap, was going to flip the NFT market cap, which was kind of my way of trying to quantify that STO security tokens by the end of the year were going to be seen as a much more viable investment asset and much more attractive proposition than the NFT counterparts. And Herwig, based off the research we can do, which isn't fully transparent, isn't fully clear, but based off the research we did, this is correct.
It's pretty
Seems
clear.
like I got it spot on.
You got it. Ring, ring, ring. Winner, winner, winner. Absolutely correct, Kyle. It was a great prediction. And as we mentioned regarding Megan's, at the time, very hot. I would say the spicy level of, okay, NFTs are the future, when security tokens weren't really getting the attention we were. Definitely a much better version of kind of, I think, what Megan was going for. And you absolutely nailed it. I believe the numbers are anywhere around 2 to 8 billion, depending on what you count as NFTs. And of course, we're going to talk about the fact what that number is in the final answer, but it's larger than 8 billion. So with that, we actually can eliminate a few of the contestants already. But before we do, let's see if I was right.
Let's see your hot take.
Well, I thought it was a pretty hot take.
It was.
And it was because it really was not true up until the last minute, folks. My prediction was $250 million STO in the multi-billion-dollar valuation successfully, which was not the case. We saw a lot of great pilots. We saw a lot of great awesome things up until this last final news
I
week.
literally stumbled upon this morning before filming. It came out literally
Unicoin.
Today, Friday.
Unicoin, folks, my company of the week for one of these reasons right here is that they indeed made me correct on my prediction. They had successfully announced $250 million in their SEC registered security token, and based on our math, they are raising at a multi-billion-dollar valuation.
Wild.
So
Wild.
with that, I am also correct, Kyle.
Wonderful.
Well done.
So now it's got to come down to the market cap. What was our market cap predictions? What was yours?
Interestingly enough, mine was a little lower than some of the other ones, but higher than the others. I think I had that kind of potential strategy of
play
where
the
I wanted
middle
to
of the
place
game, right?
Price is Right. But I also did use some of the math that I used the last year, and I believe in the previous year I was also pretty accurate when it came to this prediction. And my prediction was $12 billion. The market cap will be around that at this time.
I used the same style of math, tried to use growth rates from the past couple of years and kind of take that average to multiply it through. I got to around $6 billion with mine. And again, Price is Right style. So we both, if it's over that 12 billion mark, you're the winner.
Well,
or if it's lower than whatever, and that total market cap, Herwig, this year was?
Well, this year it was not $1.1 trillion.
No, it was not.
It was not over $100 billion.
No,
it was not under $5 billion.
No, it was not.
It did at one point hit $20 billion, though could be argued on a technicality of a token that may be distinguishable as not a security token. And then we have our two numbers. So it has come down to whether it is
you and I, we both
6
got our
and
hot
12.
take right.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, NFTs flipped between security tokens, so we actually know it's more than 8 billion, which means Market cap right now is $15 billion. Of course, you can check that out at stm.co right now to see what that price is at. So indeed, Price is Right rules, Kyle. I think I won this
Ding,
one.
ding, 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 ding. Congratulations, my friend. Technically, also on a technicality, I was at least under the Price is Right rules, but you get the dub this year. I'm actually pretty happy about a lot of our predictions were,
Amazing
even
stuff.
if they're slightly ambitious, I think we were all kind of right around there. And you got to tune in next week because, or I guess 2 weeks from now, because we are going to be giving our new predictions for 2023, and you better be sure they're going to be filled with their own set of hot takes.
That's why we have that hot, spicy meter. So you can't just skate by. An amazing show, Kyle. Can't wait to also announce our Company of the Year in that very same episode. So make sure you tune in January. But meanwhile, we want to wish you happy holidays and with huge thank you for all your support and everything you're doing in this industry. We know if you're watching, you're learning, you're participating, and of course, ask us questions. Give us comments, feedback, suggestions, your opinions, maybe your predictions. And check us out at stm.co for all of the latest and greatest news, trading information, and all things security tokens.
Please like, share, support how you do. We really appreciate it, and it helps us with the algorithm to get this out to as many people as possible. Security tokens are the future.
And with that, folks, happy tokenizing.